Hey guys, it's Benedictines. Today I'm going to be reacting to an episode from the Peace of Mind podcast. The Natalist versus Antinatalist Debate. Should we or shouldn't we procreate? This should be interesting.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Peace of Mind podcast, where every episode is a lesson and we're never selective with our perception. And today we have a very deep and spiritual conversation. I've been wanting to talk about this for the past year or past years now, and I finally feel I can get the dirt off and really talk my talk. And I feel like the majority of people will want to say something like this in public, but they're too afraid to. So I guess I got to be that voice of reason. And
Yeah, a lot of people are afraid to speak the truth because they don't want to be judged. How will people look at me when I say this? I must only say things that are going to make me look good. I mustn't say things that are controversial. I mustn't say things that people are not going to agree with. No, it's very important that we speak the truth. You do understand that the world is in the state that it's in today because people are afraid to speak the truth. People are afraid to speak their minds. If you see that there's something that is happening that is wrong, speak the truth. Fuck what happens. Because if you don't speak the truth, it doesn't mean that there ain't gonna be consequences. You know what I mean? If you decide to keep your mouth shut, there will still be consequences. You gonna suffer for not speaking the truth. So why don't you suffer for speaking the truth?
for disclaimer purposes, I do believe in the Most High. I do believe in God. It's just I have a lot of questions, and we're just gonna get right into it. So today's topic is natalism versus anti-natalism. So I'm gonna just give you like the long story short, cut and dry what it is. Natalists believe that life itself is good, it's beautiful. When you bring somebody into this world, they can make money, they can travel the world, you can create a legacy for your family, you can build a lineage, basically the positives in life. The end.
I think natalists just don't think, or they even really thought deeply about life. You know what I mean? Like, it's not that they believe that life is beautiful and things are gonna work out, blah blah blah. They just never really like questioned their existence. Like, what's really going on here? They're just doing what everyone is doing because they're trying to fit in, they're trying to survive. They see other people doing something and they want to do it without like really asking themselves if it really makes sense for them to do that thing. You see? Because that's the problem. Like, people don't question things. And we don't question things because we're trying to survive. Survival is important. You want to fit in, you want to survive. So you don't really care about what the truth is. I don't think natalists just think that life is beautiful. I know lots of natalists that know that, man, there are a lot of things that are going on in this world, but they're just doing what they've been programmed to do, and they're just trying to fit in. They're just trying to survive.
Anti-natalism perception is that if you bring somebody in this world, that they're going to suffer, they're going to endure life challenges, and that things are going to be very hard for them. I'm coming at you with the
But internatalists, and don't just think that life is suffering. If you bring someone into existence, they're going to suffer. Like, to them, the problem of suffering is much deeper than that. Like, who am I to bring someone into a world where they can suffer? It's not like, oh, life is suffering, let's not have children because life is suffering. We get it that some people think that there is meaning in suffering. Like, you can suffer a lot and that can make you a better person. But who am I to make a decision for someone else to come here and suffer? That's the problem. You see, that's the problem that I have as an antinatalist. You see? Who am I to make that kind of decision? Do I know what's really going on in this planet? Yes, I do have the power to create a new person. But should I, if I cannot get consent from them, knowing what goes on here? You see, that's the problem. The problem is in that, there's suffering in the world, blah, 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 blah. Because, some people don't have a problem with suffering, You can say that suffering builds character. That's true. But who am I to put someone through that because of what I believe? You see?
Anti-natalist perspective, Ronnie's gonna come at you from the natalist side, and we just gonna get right into it. So how you feel about, being a natalist?
Well, first of all, I just want to say what's up to everybody. It's your boy Ronnie, aka King Coop. We got King Relly in the building. We don't have our brother King Sage here today. Prayers up to him and his family and situation he got going on. We're gonna hold it down anyway. I'm just here to talk this man off the ledge that he's on, because he's been talking about this for years. And
what do you mean you're trying to talk him off the ledge that he's on? The problem with the truth is that it's dangerous. That's the thing. The truth is dangerous. Especially in a world where we are constantly getting lied to every day. When you speak the truth, you're going to look like you're insane. You're going to look like you have issues. You look like you don't think right. Something isn't right. You know what I mean? Like, people are going to judge you. They're going to feel like them thinking that, life is positive means that they are in a better situation than you, or they think better than you, you know what I mean? That is why people who, suffer from depression are looked down on in our society. Oh, get some help. Get some help because you think this way or because you feel this way. What if you are right? What if you feel the way that you feel because you are right and everyone else is wrong? They're just not able to see what you're seeing. They're just not conscious enough to see what you're seeing. You know what I mean? That happens. If you are seeing something that is awful that other people are not seeing, you're not going to feel good. But that doesn't mean that you must get help. No. That means that everyone must actually see what is going on so that we can fix the problem, because we're not going to fix the problem without seeing what is really going on, you see?
Obviously, I'm going to be representing the natalist side today. And I really just want you to kind of start off with like how you kind of got this view, man. Because for me, having kids and just having a lineage, a legacy, that's a very natural thing. To me, I feel like most people in the world want that. It's billions of people.
Yeah, man, this legacy thing is overrated when you really think about it, because you didn't even create your own DNA, you know what I mean? You're just doing what you've been programmed to do. And another thing that you must realize is that a lot of people do not think, like we've been getting programmed since we were young to kind of like live a certain way without really thinking for ourselves. What you must realize is that human beings are programmable. You can program a person to think a certain way. That is why most people who are born in South Africa are Christians, because they've been programmed to be Christians. They've been teaching us about Christianity since we were young, We've been getting indoctrinated since we were young. Now when you tell a black person that, hey man, I don't think Christianity is true, they will say that you have demons, you see? That's because human beings are programmable. So just because a lot of people believe in Christianity doesn't mean that Christianity is true. It just means that we've been indoctrinated by people who wanted us to believe in Christianity. They might not necessarily believe in Christianity, but they wanted us to believe in Christianity. So yes, millions of people are procreating, but do they really think? If you ask them, okay, why do you have children? What do they say? Do they come up with a logical answer? They say, I had children because, I realized that, the world will be better with my children in it. Or do you just say, I have children because, you know, I felt empty, you know. I felt like I needed something to live. You know, it's about them. It's not even about the children themselves. It's about them. You know, how do I feel right now? I feel empty. I feel alone. You know, I feel bored, you know.
In the world, so you know that to me that's the popular opinion. You have the unpopular opinion to me.
For me, why now I'm an anti-natalist, because just dealing with life, just seeing what, you know, obviously what my family had to go through, what we had to endure, you know, heartbreaks, dealing with, you know, life's traumas that come with that, and you know, it can be a challenge at first, but obviously for me, I just learned early on that it's better to be safe than sorry, and to know certain truths early on, so that way when you get out here in the real world, you know how to move sharp, you know how to conduct yourself better, and people can't run up on you. Because
you know, the good thing about suffering is that it wakes you up. You stop living in a fantasy world. You know, you start seeing what is going on. Like, it wakes you up. You start to say, oh, I've been lied to. You know, when we were young, they lied to us a lot about life. Like, oh, life is beautiful. Life is a gift, you know, blah, blah, blah. But then you get older and you realize, bro, we are supposed to work in order to survive. You know what I mean? And it's not like the work that we're doing is very necessary. It's like we're slaves, you know what I mean? You work a lot and just get paid enough just to, you know, be able to like afford your rent, you know, afford food, transport, and that's it. Like, that's slavery. You know, you see people suffering, you're like, what for? What is it about life that actually justifies our suffering? Why are we so biased towards life? Why can't we stand and be like, you know what? A lot of people are getting tortured here. This is starting to not make sense, you know? Something is wrong. Why can't we ask ourselves, you know, honestly, like, is life good or bad? Because people don't even get to ask themselves that question. And those that get to ask themselves that question and conclude that it's bad, they are considered to be insane in our society. They're not even allowed to kind of like, you know, talk to, you know, a lot of people, you know. They will cancel you if you start speaking that kind of truth. They will cancel you. Why will they cancel you? They will cancel you because you will start to make people think. You see? They will start to make people question things that they weren't questioning. And they don't want that. They want people to just, you know, just do exactly what they're told without like questioning anything. You know, they just want us to be slaves, you know. It is important that we ask ourselves the most important questions. What does it even mean for me to create a new person and actually bring them into a world where they'll need to work in order to survive? This is not about being lazy, like not wanting to work, but what kind of work do we do? Do you wake up in the morning and have to work for like 8 hours a day? Some people in America have like 2-3 jobs, you know what I mean? You don't really get to enjoy your life when you're working like that. You're like, okay, I'm being a productive member of society. No, I mean, you kind of are a productive member of society, but you're a slave as well, you know what I mean? That's the problem. You're a slave because you're not getting paid enough for your work, for your effort, for your time, you know? That's why we need to get to a point where we ask ourselves, what is this all about? What are we really doing? Why ain't we making life easy for ourselves? I know what some people will be thinking, like, oh yeah, actually life is much easier now than it. Like, no, it isn't. It's easier for the people who are at the top. Life always gets easier for those who have power, but it gets harder for those who are at the bottom, you see? Like, oh, now we have technology. Yes, the people who have created this kind of technology that we use today are the ones that are actually enjoying. We are now slaves to this tech. We are slaves to our cell phones, slaves to all these fucking gadgets, you know what I mean? We are more divided than ever now.
You already have it back in your mind of what to expect. You know, obviously I've been called crazy. Like I've had like a conversation with people, like with some close people in Florida too. With some other family members, with other, people.
It's crazy that, people will feel like a person who actually think for themselves is crazy. Like, you must think like everyone else. And what you must realize is that everyone else doesn't think. That's just exactly how they were programmed to be. It's not like they think. Have you ever tried to have deep conversations with people who are normal in our society? Like people who are just doing everything right. And you realize that this motherfucker doesn't think. It's like I'm talking to an actual NPC. They don't have their own opinions. You see the problem? When you have your own opinions, when you say, I think what we've been told isn't true. Like, yo, you crazy. Like, what? You know what crazy means?
Out here, and they just look at me like, yo, like, what the hell is wrong with you? I said, hey, ain't nothing wrong with me. It's just, y'all can't think for yourselves because you guys been too indoctrinated since day one to think that life is always peaches and cream when it's not.
Exactly. I like what he said. We've been indoctrinated since day one. Remember, no one was telling you that, hey, this world is evil, It's not like there were some people who were saying, oh, this world is evil, and some people were saying this world isn't evil. No, they were telling you that this world is good, This is good. You've been getting indoctrinated, When you send your kids to school, they get indoctrinated. They don't get to think for themselves. They just tell them exactly what they want to tell them. Like, oh, here's what you must think. 1 + 1 is 2. What is energy? Energy is the ability to do work. What did Erasmus Darwin think? You have to study what Erasmus Darwin thought about evolution, whatever, what Charles Darwin thought about evil. You're not allowed to think for yourself. It's not like they ask you, what do you think? What do you think about life? Where do you think we come from? No, they ain't asking you that. They're telling you what to think. That is indoctrination. You understand that? They are indoctrinating you. If they weren't indoctrinating you, they will ask you, what do you think? Okay, what do you think about what Charles Darwin said? Do you think it's true? They don't ask you. Did I ever ask you that? Like, do you think Charles Darwin was right? If you don't think that Charles Darwin was right, what do you think is true? They don't ask people that. When I was in grade 12, they didn't ask me. I was 17 when I was in grade 12, 17 or 18. I was smart enough to actually have my own opinions. But, they didn't ask what I thought. They would just ask me what Charles Darwin thought. I don't give a fuck what Charles Darwin thought. He's not God. I mean, even if he was God,
So do you feel like you had like a rough upbringing and you felt like maybe that coming up as a child, your family didn't necessarily prepare for you to be there because y'all wasn't in Philly, right?
Yeah.
Y'all were
my family, they grew up in Philly. So both my mother and my father, they both grew up in Philly, both grew up in North Philly. Moms grew up in Germantown, so that's like Northwest Philly. But they would tell me, the stories of being in Philadelphia and surviving Philadelphia. And I'm just looking at them like, okay, so y'all tell me this, but why would y'all want me here to possibly have to deal?
Yeah, that's a valid question. Why did you even have me in the first place if you already know what is going on in the world? Why?
with stuff like that. But then they always talk back in like, oh, well, like it was part of God's plan. You have to trust God's word. Again, I believe in the Most High.
What we must always remember is that God never came to us and told us to believe, in Him. It's just people. People make shit up. That's the truth. The Bible was written by people. It wasn't written by God. And it says in the Bible that it wasn't written by God. You know what I mean? But even if, it said in the Bible that it was actually written by God, we'll still not believe that. Why would He just like write stuff instead of just trying to like communicate with us in a way that's gonna be more convincing? People are full of shit, bro. People want to control other people. You have to understand that people are trying to survive. So of course they'll make shit up in order to control people, and that's why they control us using religion.
At the same time, it's like we have to be more realistic, and I think that's the downside. I mean, more so in the Black community, is that we don't look at things from a realistic standpoint. We kind of sweep it underneath the rug and just pretend that everything is just fine and dandy.
Yeah, man, I think they've done some to y'all Black Americans, man. I'm serious. Like, people, I don't know. There's this movie that I watched, They Clone Tyrone. You know how they were controlling Black people? Like, I kind of think that's what they're doing. You know what I mean? Think about it, man. Your ancestors were slaves, for real. They used to preach Christianity to these motherfuckers. They weren't allowed to read, but they were allowed to read the Bible. Yeah, why? Why will they allow them to read the Bible? Well, like, this is the same thing that happened in Africa. They gave us Bibles, but they didn't give us money. They didn't give us wealth. And you want to pretend as if they gave us, that's what I'm telling you. They will indoctrinate you. And after you've been like successfully indoctrinated, you become a robot, basically. It's like the real you dies and you actually become a robot, and you just do exactly what you've been programmed to do.
When in actuality, it's not always what it seemed to be. And I've been to Philly, like, obviously, like, damn near every single summer when I was a kid. And like I said earlier this year, and I said this in an episode where, I seen firsthand, like, a man, got poked in his arm by another man. And it's like, whoa. But it had to remind me, okay, I'm back in this city. That's just what it is. But, people can't handle certain
and that's normal. Like, you get stabbed, that's normal. You get shot, that's normal. Like, not enough is being done to actually solve these problems that people have in the projects. You know what I mean? Like, not enough is being done. Even the people who live in the projects are not even doing enough to like change their situations. It's killing Black people, killing other Black people. That's right. That's okay. That's survival. We gotta survive no matter what. No, change your situation first. If you're going to procreate, make sure that you are able to change your situation first. You don't just bring people into a war where they'll have to stab one another in order to survive, where they'll have to sell drugs in order to survive, and say, oh, that's meaningful. No, it's not meaningful. People die like dogs. People are homeless, bro. People are traumatized. People are hooked on drugs because of because of the suffering that I've had to endure in life. No one will get addicted to drugs if if life was really good. They'll get addicted to life. They'll get addicted to doing things, but it's not easy to do things, bro. So that's why you gotta think twice before you bring another person here. This is not about you. You already here. You do what you do to survive. That's good. But you have to ask yourself, should I actually bring someone else to experience what I've experienced? For what? Even if that makes people strong, but for what in the end? Like, what do people actually gain in the end? This reminds me of this other scene from Two and a Half Men. Charlie's brother, forgot his name. He was telling his son, yo, what doesn't kill you make you strong? And his son was like, that you must be like the Incredible Hulk. Like, yeah, he's strong. So what? Like, why do you gotta be super fucking strong? Why do you got to be a superhuman? You know?
Realities. That's just what it comes down to. And it's okay because obviously thinking this way isn't for everybody. It's just you have to find what works best for you and just live the best life you know how.
I mean, brother, I'm listening to your story, but like to me, it just sounds like your expression, life is life. Like I haven't heard anything too crazy that you said that's like that defines why you shouldn't be here. Like I feel like everybody is going to experience things in life that's not like you said, life's not peaches and cream. Everybody's going to have experiences about, you know, people may witness murder. People may experience bullying coming up. People may experience poverty. But for me, you know, being the optimist that I am, it's like, okay, am I going to succumb to those experiences or am I going to let those experiences build the character that I have? And actually, to me, the more of those traumatic experiences that you had growing up, they build you up to be, in our case, better men.
Right.
Because
no, he is right, but there's still a problem. The problem is, what right does he have to make someone else go through this shit? That's the problem. The problem is in how you justify your suffering. It's good, you can justify your suffering, you know. You can say, yeah, man, I've suffered, but that made me a better person. Yeah, that's good, but there are people who have suffered and, you know, they're fucked up right now. And you know that. You know that not everyone wins in the end. You know that you are gambling when you bring someone here. But you're not gambling with your own life. You're gambling with someone else's life. That's the problem. You see, once people are brought here, they are in a trap, and that is the truth. They are in an actual trap. And they have to find a way to make their lives easier, because life itself is hard. So what gives you the right to bring someone into a world like that without their consent? Think of it this way. If there was a gadget, right, that you can use on people without their consent, this gadget can provide pleasure and it can also provide pain. Let's just say there was like a 30% chance that this gadget can provide pain, and there was 70% chance that it can provide pleasure. But to use it on people, you must not get their consent first. You just use it. You find random people, sometimes it will provide pleasure, and you know the chances of it providing pleasure are much higher than the chances of it providing pain. Would we say that that is right? Like, you gotta think. You have to be so fucking real, so fucking honest with yourself, so that you see what is really going on. Of course you wouldn't. You'll think that it's wrong to use that gadget on people, because you didn't get their fucking consent. You see? So it's not right for you to gamble, because it's not you who gets to have the experience. It's them. You see? So when you procreate, you're creating a new person that can suffer like crazy, or that can have a good life. But you're gambling with someone else's life. So, okay, you have a child and that child suffers like crazy. Whose fault is it? Is it that child's fault or is it your fault? Like, you need to be that honest with yourself. Yes, you can do whatever you can to make that child's life better, but doesn't mean that you're going to win, you know what I mean? Doesn't mean that you're going to succeed. You don't know the future. You don't know what's going to happen 2 minutes from now. You don't even know what is going on in the world. You don't know who controls this world. You don't even know what this world is. It could be a prison. Is that not possible? We could be living in a prison. We could be living in a computer, in a simulation, you know? Anything is possible. There could be this evil God that's controlling everything and that doesn't want us to, like, anything is possible. That's why you got to think. You got to think outside the box.
You know, we were having a conversation off camera earlier. You know, raising kids, you don't want to pacify your kids so much, and you don't want to provide for your kids so much that they're going to get ate up by the wolves. You know, your kids are going to have to fall off their bikes. They're going to have to go overcome that bully at school. You know, they're going to have to get out and struggle to find that first job. They may be making a minimum wage first, but everybody starts from the bottom. You know, you have to have that aspiration and that grind to rise to the top. But that doesn't mean that, like, it's not worth the effort. To me, it's more, life is a game. It's more of a risk than about playing it safe. And to me, that anti-natalist view, I'm not going to bring kids into this world because the world is cold and all. That's just, it's just very pessimistic to me. It's too safe.
Is it?
No, it's, that view actually comes from compassion. It comes from understanding. It comes from intellectual honesty. Antinatalists are not having kids because the world is too cold. I mean, even though, there will be a lot of antinatalists who talk about how cold the world is. No, the problem is the gamble, You are gambling with someone else's. Like, bro, like, think of people who are here right now who are suffering each and every day, and they can't even exit peacefully. No one is gonna assist them. It means that to them, this shit is a fucking prison. You see? It doesn't matter how you look at it. We're different. We cannot view life, the same way. Yes, you might think life is great, whatever, God is good, all the time. But like, we're different. It doesn't mean that you're right. You could be wrong, but, it could mean that you've been indoctrinated so much that you're unable to see things as they really are. You're unable to think deeply and see reality as it really is. You are just able to see what they wanted you to see, the people who have indoctrinated you.
I'm gonna be blunt. Is it bullshit? Yes or no? Listen, we're gonna go there. Is it bullshit or no?
I mean, I just don't see why, like, I feel like, okay, so in ways that I can agree with you, I feel like, if you are, there's certain people that shouldn't be having kids. That's a fact. Like, if you ain't got nothing, if you ain't on nothing all day, if you on Section 8, ain't got no job, all this stuff, and you can't, it's kind of like, we can only talk about being men because we are men. Like, if you can't do nothing for a woman, why are you going after a woman? So it's the same thing with kids. If you can't provide for your kids, then why are you out here trying to have kids?
No, I like what he said, especially about like, if you can't do something for a woman, why are you after? And I love that. That's true. After my ex broke up with me, I remember I told my mom this. It's like, what? When she left, I blamed her, But the truth is, a nigga was broke. I couldn't do most of the things that she wanted me to do. So she actually made the right decision. But I also want to show you something. Like, if kids, before they were born, they were asked where they want to be born, what kind of parents they wanted to have, most people who have children wouldn't have children because they wouldn't choose them. The same way that some women won't choose men who are broke. So I like what he was saying, that some people shouldn't have children. But why? Why does he feel that way? It's because he knows that the children who are born in poor families tend to suffer more, right? But there's still a problem. Even if you do have money, you cannot guarantee that your child is not going to suffer. You see? So he's able to say that, okay, yeah, if you don't have money as a parent, you won't be able to take care of your kids' needs, and so of course your kid's going to suffer. Yes, that he knows for sure. It's guaranteed, you know. I mean, it's not really guaranteed. There are some people who grew up in poverty who didn't really suffer that much. But that's the thing. He does acknowledge that some people shouldn't have kids because they might suffer. So why does it feel like some people should have kids, even if it is possible that their kids might suffer? It doesn't mean that if you have money, your kid is not going to suffer. You can have a kid that has mental issues. You know, you can have a kid that has health issues. You can have a kid that just simply hates life. You know what I mean? You can have a kid that's not able to function in this society. That's also possible. You can have a kid that's just so different, you know, that doesn't view life the way that you view life. And that wouldn't mean that there's something wrong with them.
But that doesn't mean that that same person can't change their life. You know what I'm saying? Life is a journey. It's not a constant thing.
Mm-hmm. I mean, you know, it's just, like I said earlier, it's just you have to really find out who you are and what you stand for. And to me, and my ultimate solution, like I always say, you know, a person can either play the game. You're right. Life is a game, and I play the game very well, and I love the game. But I tell people, yes, when you play the game, play it smart, but don't be, you know, like naive to certain harsh realities. So you.
I love what you said. He loves the game, you know. Like, yeah, I love the game. This shows you that it doesn't mean that someone who's an antinatalist doesn't love the game. A person who's an antinatalist just knows that this game is brutal. Okay, let me put it this way. Khabib Nurmagomedov, GOAT. I believe that Khabib is the, you know, greatest UFC fight. Like John Jones, John Jones and Khabib. This guy is the GOAT. I remember when he was being interviewed, I forgot who was interviewing him. He said that he wouldn't force his children to fight. Right? He wouldn't force his dad, I think, forced him to fight, like forced him to train and fight, whatever. I'm not really sure, but he's never really said that. But it's kind of like that's what happened. That's why he became the GOAT. But he wouldn't force his children to fight, even though he loved fighting. And he was the best at it. We're talking about a guy that never bled in the octagon. We're talking about a guy that only lost like 1 round or 2 rounds. He fought against the best fighters in the UFC. And he was dominating everyone, dominating almost every round. He knows how crazy the sport is. So he's not going to force his children to fight. You know what I mean? That's the thing. You know how crazy life. You're like, okay, you know what? I'm gonna play the game. I'm here. I'm gonna play the game. I think I'm fit. I think I can play the game. But hey, bringing someone else here to come and play this game, I don't know if that person is gonna love it. That's the problem. I don't know if that person is gonna be like me. I mean, even if there's a chance that that person is going to love it, doesn't mean that I must do something to people without their consent if I know that it is possible that they might not like it, you see? Just like if someone was in a coma right now and they didn't have a child. Like a lady was in a coma and she didn't have a child, and I knew that maybe she's going to wake up when she's like 50 and she cannot have children anymore. Let's just say right now she's 40. And I believe that having kids is right. Should I now make a decision for her? Like, okay, I can't get consent from her, but, you know, what if she wakes up and be like, you know, if I had a child, you know, that would be good. Should I now rape her so that when she wakes up, she'll be like, oh, I have a child? I don't know how she's going to feel. That's the problem. So should I do it? Because that's maybe the right thing to do, you know, we must procreate as people. Or should I think and be like, no, I can't make that decision for this person. They're the ones that should be able to make the decision. So since they can't make a decision, I can't make it for them. You see? That's the thing. You're bringing someone into this world without their consent. You're making a decision for someone to come and have an experience that they might not like. You see the problem? You're not depriving anyone of anything because they did not exist in the first place. They did not even show you a sign that they would have wanted to come here and exist. So like there's somewhere like, oh, I want to go to Earth. Or, you just be creating a new person.
So you can play the game, or you could, for YouTube's sake, you can, transition to the next life. You could, exit if you want to. And I'm gonna get on that. So there's this thing, it's euthanasia. So euthanasia is the process where you can have a medical peaceful death. They can stick you either with a needle or they can put you inside of like a pod. The first ever the euthanasia pod was made in Switzerland like not too long ago. And Switzerland is legal there. It's legal in Belgium. It's legal in Portugal. It's legal in Spain. And it's also, well, it's not legal. No. They don't have the pods yet in Canada, but in Canada, euthanasia is legal because they say, okay, if you have a mental disability, a physical disability, or if you're in a vegetative state, then you can have a peaceful death. And obviously,
this reminds me of the first episode from Futurama, where they had like a suicide booth. That was funny though. You just go to that booth and just choose how you gotta go out. It's funny. You find that people queue in line just to exit this realm. But yeah, man, choice is important. No matter what you believe, never ever believe that people must not have a choice because of your beliefs. You know what I mean? Like, there's something wrong with that. You're a human. You're very limited. You don't see things from other people's perspectives. I don't know what it's like to be King Kun. I think it's King Kun. I think, yeah, he said his name is King Kun or Gerald. Like, I don't know what it's like to be King Kun or to be Gerald. You know what I mean? Like, they're viewing lives from their own perspectives. They're experiencing their own realities. I've never been to America before. I don't know how their lives have been. I don't know how the food is, you know what I mean, how their parents raised them, you know what I mean? Like, so I can't force myself or force them to do things that they don't want to do because I haven't experienced the same reality that they've experienced. Maybe if I experience the reality that they've experienced, I would feel the way that they feel. You see, we need to reach a point as a society where we actually understand that we are different. We're not all the same, so we cannot force other people to be like us, you see.
It caused a lot of, a lot of controversy because it's like, yo, like who, like that, why would you even say that a person should go because they want to go? It's like, no, like you should have that right as a human being to do whatever it is you want to do. It doesn't matter my religious belief system or like what I believe is right. No, you as a grown man or as a grown woman should have a right to pick, your fate and your destiny.
Okay, so like, what do you say to the people that say that that's giving up? You know what I'm saying? Because I could have depression. I could be.
No, it's not giving up. Think of it this way. Let's say you are married to a very toxic woman. Like, the woman that you're married to is like super toxic. Would you say that if you felt like, it is best for me and this woman to go our separate ways, would you say that that's giving up? There's no guarantee that things are going to get better. That's why it's important that people have a choice. Can you imagine if the American government said, you know what, it should be illegal for people to get a divorce? Would that be right? That choice taken away from people, so they have to live in toxic marriages, just because it's illegal now. They cannot make that choice. We're talking about real humans who know what is best for them. So you cannot really say that that is giving up, because you didn't even choose this in the first place. It's not like you said, okay, I wanted to do this. No, it's not. If you feel like it's too toxic, that's how you feel. So you cannot really say that it's giving up. There are a lot of things that I know you stopped doing because you felt like they were you didn't feel like you were giving up. You just like, this is what's best for me.
Down in the dumps for 6 months, a year, 2 years, but like I said earlier, life is a journey.
Right.
Like I'm not going to be in that same mind state forever. And if I go, life is just kicking my tail so bad that I'm about to go get euthanized, then I done potentially missed out on like so much experience. And
I know. Think of it this. Let's just say you go to a party. You party, and you get bored and you decide to go. And would you say that you gave up? Like, no, actually, some bitches might come later, a bit, so I'll be missing out. Would you say that that's giving up? Because you wanted to have fun, but you bored. So would you say that that is giving up? You must try to look at this from different perspectives. No, people do not view this reality the same way. You view it that way, like, yeah, that's true. That's how you view reality. Some people think, well, I don't have to be here forever, you know what I mean? I don't have to be, to die of old age, I must have a choice in the end. If I feel like it's time, that's how I feel. It doesn't matter if I'm gonna change my mind in the end. This is how I feel, and this is the choice that I want to make, and I must be able to make that choice. I don't know if I'm going to change my mind in the future, and I'm not even going to be the same person in the future. You see? You don't say people shouldn't get divorced because some people do change their minds. Like, it should be illegal for people to divorce because some people do change their minds. You know how love works. You can break up with a person that you're in a relationship with and feel like it's a mistake in the end. Like, that can happen. But we're not saying that they should be illegal. You see? Some people genuinely want to go. That is the truth. Not everyone changes their minds in the end. Some people don't change their minds in the end.
Life, what life has to offer. What do you say to the people that's giving up?
I mean, like I always say, it's just, you gotta find it deep inside of your soul, because I don't have an answer for that. Like, that's a person, like a man in a mirror type situation, where it's like you have to really say, okay, I'm meant for something greater than myself to not, do this. But if I want to go, I should have that right to go in a peaceful way. So I don't have an answer for that. It's just that person has to take that journey themselves. It's kind of like, I can lead you to water, but I can't make you drink it. Like, it's really on you. Like, internally, it's really up to you. Like, I can give you the Bible verses. I can give you every single thing, every resource, every psychiatrist, every doctor, but it's on you to take that action.
Oh man, bro, like, I'm gonna just say, like, life is so precious. Like, I feel like we're kind of taken away from the beauty and the just amount of how much precious life is. Like, my uncle just passed in October. My uncle was only here.
What you must realize is that that's his perspective. That's his perspective. Let's say you love partying and you have a friend who doesn't love partying. You invited your friend, like, let's go to party, nigga. Go to the party and, start dancing and all that. And your friend says, man, I'm bored. I want to leave. But you say, well, you shouldn't be allowed to leave because this is dope. This is dope. Yeah, Life is precious. That's your perspective. What about a person who don't feel like life is precious? Shouldn't they be free? Should they be forced to love life because you think it's precious? You see the problem?
For 44 years. So it's like, you know, my uncle was one of those types of men that like I really looked up to him. He lived his life a certain way. He was the center of his family. You know, he could do everything for his family. He changed my cousin's brakes, you know, changed their oil. I learned a lot of stuff from him, even though he wasn't my blood. He was married into the family. But it's like in that short 44 years that he was here, ultimately looking on it, that was a short amount of time. But since then, he was able to be on this earth and had 3 kids. He moved down from New York, found a wife in North Carolina, started a beautiful family. And now that he's gone, we're filled with a bunch of precious memories and lessons that he taught me.
What's going on? I've never had a network problem
So
before.
I can't say that like, even though he was only here for 44 years, which is a short amount of time, but
remember what I was telling you, Gerald, like, you know, we live in a crazy world. Probably some entities, you know, that'll be like, you know. No, I'm serious. Like, I've never had this problem before. I'm using fiber. This has never happened ever since I got here. I've been here like for like a month. I mean, yeah, it used to happen when I was at home because I was not using fiber back then. But now I'm using fiber, so this has never happened. So
I feel like he should have been here longer. I can't say that I felt like his life was a waste, you know, and that's the thing about life. Like, no matter how long you on this earth, I could have an 8-year-old child that passes. That life affects me in a certain way, and it's gonna affect, you know, the mother, the sister, the father. Like, each individual affects the planet in a certain way. There are people that, you know, it goes both ways. You got serial killers, you got rapists, you got criminals, but then you got, you know, the geniuses. You got the President Obamas, you got the, you know what I'm saying, the Denzel Washingtons, you got us, you know what I'm saying? So every person on this earth is a gamble. You know, my family tree started with Badgie. That was my great grandfather's name.
So yeah, he's mentioning that there are some people who get to do enjoy their lives in this society, the Obamas, the Jay-Z's, you know, maybe if he's enjoying, you know, the Trevor Noahs, the Joe Rogans. But there are also some people who truly suffered. Serial killers, people who just fucked up, you know. I cannot understand what goes on in the mind of people who, you know, end up killing people, you know. But the way that I would look at it is, you know, some of these people that end up suffering a lot are the ones that got you know, the bad end of the stick, you know what I mean? These are the people that weren't lucky enough, because this shit really does have a lot to do with luck. It does matter how you experience life. And this doesn't mean that if you experience, you know, bad things in life, it automatically means that you're not going to make it in the end. What I'm trying to show you is that we are products of our experiences, you know. Yes, I can suffer a lot in the beginning, but end up enjoying life in the end. You might find that if I did not suffer in the beginning, I will not enjoy life in the end. You know what I mean? Like, there's no telling how things will end up, but we're not really in control. So yes, someone can be lucky enough to enjoy life and become important in the world, but there are a lot of people who are not lucky enough to actually, you know, enjoy and become important in the world. And also remember that the people who are running this world are people who are actually enjoying life. They're the people that have things that we think we want, you see? So they're the ones that are making decisions. They're the ones that are controlling our minds, controlling how we think. And that's probably the reason why you think the way that you think.
Badgie and Mary Alexander, they had 14 kids. So I got 14 great aunts and uncles, and like there's so many of us cousins. We all different in so many ways. You know what I'm saying? Life is life.
Yeah, bro. I mean, obviously, I'm gonna pull up my notes here that I did some other research. That support. These are verses, and then obviously other lyrics that support
Okay,
anti-natalism. Okay, so here we got it states in Ecclesiastics right here. It says Ecclesiastes 4:2-3. If that's how they pronounce it, it says, "And I thought the dead who have already died more fortunate than the living who are still alive, but better than both is one who has not yet been and has seen the evil deeds that are done under the sun." That's one verse. Second verse, Matthew 26:24. "The Son of Man goeth as it is written of him, but woe unto that man by whom the Son of Man is betrayed. It had been good for that man if he had not been born." And then the last verse I have is Job 3:16. "Or as in hidden untimely birth, I had not been as infants which never saw light." So essentially, what God is like saying in these verses is that, ultimately, like when you bring somebody here, that person is gonna suffer in somehow, some way.
I imagine myself as a pastor preaching this to people. Like, yeah, this is what the Bible says, because Christians would want you to quote the Bible if you tell them something. So I can imagine myself, preaching. Like, yeah, let's read. I forgot it's Atlas or like, yeah, but let's read what it says. Yeah, the blessed are the ones that were not born. So yeah, don't have children. You should not bring children into this world. Because blessed are the ones that were never born. Actually, I think I'll have an alter ego. I'm a pastor who picks up stuff that people don't want to, preach about. Read the Bible and figure out what people don't want to preach about and preaching that shit. The truth. It's not like there is no truth in the Bible. It's just that most of the shit is false. But there is some truth.
With the human experience, and then also it's just really, like you said, it's a journey. And I think that those individuals or people have to still find it deep within themselves to get themselves through in every way and know how. That's why I don't judge people for like what they do. If a person has to be a Christian out, like a super Christian or a super Muslim or a super Buddha to get them through, then that's what they have to do. Like I'm never gonna judge that, because that's how they're able to survive life. That's how they're able to get through their day to day. And I also have some other lyrics too from some of our favorite rappers. They said the same thing in relation to anti-natalism. 50 Cent said in his album Get Rich or Die Trying, in the Many Man, Wish Death.
Life gotta be easy.
Death gotta be easy because life is hard. It'll leave you physically and emotionally scarred.
That was my favorite, man. He said, "Well, death gotta be easy because life is hard. It'll leave you physically and mentally scarred." Man, 50 and right, man. Like he's a gangster, he's a fighter, but yeah, he knows. Like, yo, this shit is something else.
J. Cole said, "And born sinner, run away. When it's all said and done, everybody dies. In this life, ain't no happy endings, only pure beginnings, followed by years of winning and fate, repentance." Nas said in Lost Tapes.
That's like people know the truth, like especially like these people that are like really smart. J. Cole is smart, that. But man, there are some things that are not easy to talk about. There are some things that are not easy to talk about. I mean, J. Cole is like big, he's famous. He can't just. It's not good for, like, remember that people who own the labels. There are people who own the label. You know what I mean? So of course these people didn't allow him to say some of this shit. Be like, no, that won't sell. Oh, we don't want people to think this way. You're too negative. How are you gonna perform this song on BET?
purple. The song Purple. Life is like a jungle, black. It's like the habitat of Tarzan. Matter of fact, it's harder than most can imagine. And lastly, from Mobb Deep, they said in survival of the fittest, it's a war going on outside. No man is safe from. You can run, but you can't hide forever. So still, to prove my point is that, you know, obviously, when you bring somebody here, it's gonna be some shit. That's just what it is. It's just the way that we go about it. Now, me again, I'm anti-natalist, but I'm not like the super like, you know, oh da da da. Nah, like I see what's going on, but I deal with it in my way. And then you got some other people. I ain't gonna say his name. Shout out to you. You know exactly who you are.
King
You got his way. His way is just more so like, nah, this is what it is. Like you ain't gonna tell me nothing. Okay, I mean that's cool. So you got your way, I got my way. It's just like with any other religion. Like you got, you know, obviously Christians, but you got Protestant, Baptist, Catholicism, evangelical journalism.
All right, guys, I've reacted to the first half of this video. I'll react to the second half. You guys tell me if you want me to react to the second half. The reason why I stopped this video is because the network, man. I don't know what's going on. The network has never, you know, been like this before. You know, this doesn't make any sense. But I'll record to the second half if you guys say that I should record. I should react. I mean, I will react to the second half if you guys say that I should react to the second half. Thank you all, guys.